What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Chris. Welcome back to the Sparkplug channel. Today's episode's a little different. We're sitting down and talking about the OKC Thunder. Now, let's get things started with the fact that the Thunder are 10-0 in December and are about to be an 11-0 as they are currently just dominating the Memphis Grizzlies. Sam Presti has done a great job, and I don't really have very many complaints. But I will say it is time for this group in their front office to decide to finally be aggressive. No more of this trading away Trey Mann in some minor seconds and everything to go get Gordon Hayward because you don't want to affect. This team, I don't think you can mess up chemistry with this team, especially when we're going to be talking about the guys we're going to be talking about them acquiring today. Now, OKC is almost perfect everywhere. They're first in defensive rating, seventh in offense, and second in turnover percentage. But there's one area of struggle for them, and that's the three ball. They're 23rd in three-point percentage and 13th in attempts per game. And a big part of that is because of their superstar, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Now, Shai can't get enough praise from me. He's a 31-point-per-game guy who's averaging 6 and 6. He's propelling this team to victories. He always finds a way to get a good shot, rarely forces bad shots, and is just a brilliant all-around player, a good shot blocker, a good all-around defender, and a top 6 player in this league, a top 2 guard in this league. But that being said, with his play style, and I'm not comparing him to LeBron James at this point in his career, but when you talk about a guy who is main focus on offense is getting downhill and not necessarily shooting the three ball. Now, I will say his three-point attempts have gone up. They've almost doubled. They went from 3.6 last year to 6.2, but he's also only shooting 34.5% on those attempts, which is below league average. When you have a guy like Shai, similar to when you build a team around LeBron, you need three-point shooters. You need a knockdown ace who is going to sit in the corner. He's going to run off ball like a Kyle Korver, and he's going to hit those shots. And when we talk about this Thunder team, they don't necessarily have that right now. They have Isaiah Joe, who's shooting 35% from three this year. Nothing crazy. But then, Lou Dort deserves a lot of praise. He's shooting 39% on almost 164 attempts this season. And he is really upping his value, making himself way more of a 3-and-D threat than he's ever really been. Now, that being said, this is an area they still need to get really aggressive in. And I understand a lot of people say, well, their main focus should be getting more size. Isaiah Hartenstein and Chet haven't even played together. Give them some more time. They're 10-0, Chris. No, but we can't keep doing this. The Thunder have the opportunity to win a championship this year. The Celtics, maybe it's just recent struggles. Maybe I'm being a little bit paranoid as a fan of the team. But they haven't looked great recently because they've been lacking size, and they're in a pigeonhole spot where they don't really have anything they can trade or they want to trade. And also they have been lacking effort because they just look exhausted right now. And then for the Cavs, I don't see this being Cleveland's year. Looking at Orlando right now is the most injured team in the NBA, and the West is wide open. So if OKC wants to make this their year, with teams like the Mavericks still hungry for that championship, you're telling me Luka Doncic come playoff time isn't going to do everything he can to get back to the finals? You want that? You want to get to the finals? You got to make a move this year. There's no more of this lollygagging. There's no more waiting around. There's no more continuing to let guys develop. You have enough first-round picks where no matter what team you're offering a trade for, or trade to, they're going to accept it. What do they still have, 12 or 13 first-round picks over the next 4 or 5 years? Ridiculous stuff. Now, before we get into their targets, I just want to say this. They need to make one of these three things happen, or they need to go out and spend on a star. Maybe it's Brandon Ingram. Maybe it's DeMar DeRozan, even though I don't think that would help anything. But those are just two names that are potentially on the market. But I think any of these three guys will come in and propel this team to the favorite in the NBA. Now, number one, this is the one that I want to happen the most, and I think it needs to happen. You're seeing his highlights on the screen right now. We're talking about Cam Johnson. Cam Johnson's on a tear this year. He's already attempted 214 threes, and he's hitting them at a 43% clip, averaging 19.5 points per game, 4 rebounds, and 3 assists. He is on an absolute tear. He's a guy who's already played in the finals with Phoenix. He is a winner all around. He was drafted as an older guy in the early lottery, and we know what those guys are. They're typically elite shooters or just gritty guys. Well, he's a bit of both, folks. This man, I think he's going to demand 2 first-round picks with the way he's playing on the market right now, and I think the only team that has the ability to be able to offer that and not worry about it affecting their long-term future is the Thunder. You'd also be getting him for, I believe, another 3 years. Now, we're not going to have exact mock trades for any of these trades we're talking about, but we're just going to go more into what this player could do for the team. At 6'8", Johnson can play small forward, power forward, and even some small ball center minutes if you have a guy like J-Dub on the floor, which is crucial for a team that doesn't necessarily want to rush Chet back, but also kind of needs some big man play with the other Jaylen Williams not really being a great rim presence. Now, when we talk about this guy Cam Johnson, I don't think people understand that this guy does way more than just sit in the corner. I mean, every shot he attempts, it is a 3, but it's not like he's just sitting in the corner waiting for the ball to come to him. He moves well off the ball, and he moves well with the ball in his hands, and he is not afraid to take that shot. And I think OKC needs that. You'd potentially be looking at a lineup, when healthy, of Chet Holmgren, Cam Johnson, Jaylen Williams, Lou Dort, who's shooting, remember, we said 39% from 3 this year, and Shea, with a bench of Alex Caruso, Isaiah Joe, Isaiah Hartenstein, Aaron Wiggins, the man who saved basketball. And I'm probably forgetting somebody. But anyway, isn't that just insane? Now, you could even run a lineup where you had Cam Johnson starting at the 3, J-Dub at the 2, Chet at the 4, and Isaiah Hartenstein at the 5 with Shea at the 1. That's an average height of at least 6'8" in your starting lineup. That's ridiculous. So our next guy on the list is John Collins. Now, Collins is arguably having his best season since being out of Atlanta. He's a guy who's shooting 42% from 3 this season on 85 attempts. He's averaging 18 points per game, 8 rebounds, and 3 assists. Now, we know what John Collins can be if he's getting the ball all the time. But I think if he goes to OKC, he fits that role that's going to get him paid way more money. And he could potentially try to develop into an Aaron Gordon role for them. Similar to when Aaron Gordon went over from the Thunder, wasn't necessarily known as went over from the Magic to the Nuggets. Wasn't necessarily known as a great defender, but really developed that and worked on that and became a force next to Nikola Jokic. Collins has a lot of the same skill sets. He's on a bit of a tear shooting the ball this year, but other than that, he's been an above average to average 3-point shooter, freak athleticism, and a decent rim protector. All things that Aaron Gordon offered to the Nuggets to make them want to make that trade, and look how it paid off for them. Now, I think the reason you could go this route over Cam Johnson is because also Collins can legit play the small ball 5 in not just spot minutes, in serious minutes if you need him to. And I think also just the fact of potentially being able to let Isaiah Hartenstein or Chet sit in crunch time and having him start out there with them or with whoever is playing better would be great. I also like Collins because, he also was part of a deep playoff run with the Hawks. He was instrumental in that run they made to the conference finals. So that's our third guy. Now, wrapping up, our fourth guy. He's out in Washington. He hasn't been on the trade market. We don't really know what his value is. He's struggling shooting the 3 this year, but he has been nothing but lights out his entire high school, collegiate, and NBA career. We're talking about Cory Kispert. Now, Cory Kispert is the type of guy where you can trust him with the basketball. He's smart, he's calculated, and he makes the right read. He's a very underrated playmaker and a decent defender. Now, he is struggling shooting the 3 this year. 59% of his shot attempts are coming from deep, which is what this Thunder team needs. They need a guy who's going to shoot that 3 ball. But he's only connecting on 33% of them. Despite that, though, he's averaging 11 points per game, 3 rebounds, and 2 assists. And like I said, he's a decent playmaker and a decent defender. And he can come in and really give OKC whatever they need. I mean, he's going to go out there. He's going to play well like Cam Johnson, off the ball, on the ball. He's became a very decent screen-setting wing. And at 6'6", I think he would be a really good fit with this Thunder team. He also fits their timeline very well. And, I love the fit of all 3 of these guys, and I think they could all provide potentially different things and obviously net different packages. I think going down the list, I think Kispert will probably net the lowest package just because he's struggling shooting the ball this year, and obviously Cam Johnson's been nothing short of incredible this year. But yeah, let me know what you think OKC needs to do at the deadline or coming up on trade season. Let me know if you don't think they need to do anything. Honestly, I could see that argument too. Just continue to let them rock out, but I'm just not there for that, man. If they want to win a championship and want to guarantee they can win a championship, this is the year. This is really the year for it. There's no major stars on the block that is going to shake up the entire NBA that you have to worry about. It's a lot of role players, and why not just go ahead and get one of those best role players and make your team that much better? Folks, this has been the Spark Plug. This is Chris Lambert. I'll see you later.
You said you can't go in lightly. You can't tiptoe in. So you guys want to give a bark to end this interview or what?
Yeah, why not?